So this week I read Genesis 12 through 17, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a little summary recap of that. So, Genesis 12, Abram was called to go to Canaan by God, so he took Sarai, his wife, Lot, his nephew, and all of their possessions, and started on their journey. And there was a big famine in the area on their journey, so they went to Egypt. And in Egypt, Sarai was passed off as Abram's sister because he didn't want to get killed on account of her beauty. And because of that, Pharaoh courted her and gave things to Abram in return. And God punished Pharaoh because Sarai was Abram's wife, and both of them are very important to God's plan. And so Pharaoh was like not happy and told Abram, like, be on your way. Keep the stuff I gave you, but skedaddle. So then Genesis 13, on their travels, they ended up arriving in Bethel, which is where Lot and Abram decided to part ways. And Abram let Lot pick which direction he wanted to go, and Abram would go the other way. So Lot chose to go eastward towards Sodom, and so that's where he went, and Abram went to Canaan. And then Genesis 14, there was a big fight that broke out between 9 different kings, and they've all got really big Old Testament names, so I'm not going to try to pronounce those. But it was essentially, there was a 4 versus 5 battle that had occurred, and the 4 kings won. The others had to retreat, and Sodom and Gomorrah were beaten, and Lot was taken prisoner as part of the spoils of war. And someone had escaped and notified Abram, who was not happy about that. So he marched with 318 men to get Lot back. And Abram and his army ended up defeating the 4 kings that had won the battle previously and got Lot back and took nothing from the conflict, no rewards or anything. They just went on their way. And then Genesis 15, God promised Abram that he would become the father of many, and made a covenant with him, and promised for 400 years that Abram's descendants were going to be enslaved and mistreated in the land that he was in. But then afterwards, they would claim the land as their own. And then Genesis 16, Sarai wanted Abram to get a son through Hagar, one of her slaves. So Abram and Hagar did that, and Hagar became pregnant, and Sarai was not happy, so she mistreated her, and Hagar ran away. But then God appeared to her and said, "Go back, it's fine, name your son Ishmael." And so she did. And then in Genesis 17, it's a covenant another covenant between God and Abram. God ended up changing Abram's name to Abraham in this chapter because he would be a father of many nations, and nations and kings would come from Abraham's descendants. But the covenant was that each male needed to be circumcised. And Sarai was also renamed to Sarah because she was going to be a mother of nations. She was going to bear a son, and they would name him Isaac. And Abraham asked God if Ishmael could also be blessed, and he said yes. So Ishmael was also blessed, and from him he would be the father of 12 rulers. So that's what the story is so far. Story of Abraham. Genesis verses 12 through 17.